When I meet dogs, I feel very comfortable. But when I meet people, like my whole body is sweaty and shaken. Especially 400 people that I don't know. And I also like this nervousness because it shows me why I'm here. I really care about what you think about me. Very often people tell me, Yoram, you shouldn't care about what people think about you, but that's not my case. That's what I care the most, which is my connection with people. I love people. If I want or if I don't, I love people. And there is one more thing that I love, which is honesty. Moment by moment to reveal what is going on in me. And I can tell you, I was not trained in that. I was trained to hide many parts of myself. For example, 15 years ago, I was in a party with friends. And, I was bored, as usual. Because whenever people ask me, hey, Yoram, how are you? I would say, well, I'm good, I'm fine, which is far from reality. And good, in my definition, is gloomy, overworked, overwhelmed, and definitely not trusting that you would appreciate it if I would say it. And by the way, my definition of fine, fucking incapable of naming emotions. See, I was not very trained I didn't even know how I feel. So I was in a party, and suddenly I had a brilliant idea. I said to my friends, hey, let's play a game. Let's play honesty game. Let's say to each other everything that is going on in our head about one another. And I was so excited, finally honesty. And I didn't understand why my friends were quite reluctant to play this game. But I was enthusiastic enough in order to convince them to do it. And then I said, okay, so I will start. And then I looked at one of my friends, a girl, and I told her, my friend, I think you're ugly. That was the end of the dinner. See, this woman didn't want to speak with me anymore. So this is not the sort of honesty I would like to speak with you about today. A few months later, still 15 years ago, I met nonviolent communication. And through the years, I became a nonviolent communication trainer and a mediator. And nonviolent communication is not something against bullying or something like that. Nonviolent communication was developed by Marshall Rosenberg. And it's a technique how to help people to communicate in a way that is creating more cooperation and compassion. And in nonviolent communication, we define two sorts of honesty. One we call Jackal honesty, and the other is Giraffe honesty, or nonviolent communication. And the Jackal honesty is basically, it's a belief that me as a human being, I'm capable of knowing absolutely what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong. And if there is one thing that I learned in the 40 years I'm on the planet, is that I don't know. I don't even know for myself what is good for myself for the long term. And at the same time, whenever people behave in ways that I don't like, in the speed of light, I'm thinking in these terms. I'm thinking in terms of what's wrong with them. So for example, if a friend of mine is speaking more words than what I enjoy, did it ever happen to you that people speak more words than what you enjoy? So how do you judge them? In your head, of course, you will not tell it to them because we all learn to become nice, dead, polite people. But in your head, there is a Jackal party going on. So for example, oh my God, he speaks so much. He's boring, he's abusive, and he really thinks he's the center of the world, huh? And it's the same thing if my friend is speaking less words than what I enjoy. Also then my Jackal thinking is very helpful in order to describe what's going on. Then I just give him a different name. Autist. He has communication problem. He is emotionally blocked and he needs to see a psychologist in order to learn how to open up. So whenever people behave in ways that are not meeting my needs, in the speed of light, I'm thinking in terms of what's wrong with them. And I would say that I would consider this language as a complete lie. Or in other words, tragic description of reality. Like it's not describing what is really going on. So for example, let's imagine that there is a book here. And both you and me read this book. And you say, wow, this book is really interesting. And I say, no, this book is really boring. What happened? Like, listen to the language we speak. You say, the book is interesting, and I say, no, the book is boring. What happened to the book? The book kind of entered into an existential question. What am I? Am I boring? Am I interesting? And I would say the book is not boring and the book is not interesting. The book is just a book. And at the same time, when I say the book is boring, I'm trying to describe a certain experience I'm having. So if I will describe it in Giraffe, it might sound like that, in the dialogue with you. So for example, when you tell me now that you think that the book is interesting, I'm surprised because I didn't find it, and I'm curious, can you show me what is it that you find interesting in it? Now again, I have a blackout. And I'm very grateful for the phenomena that called paper. It's relatively easy when it is about books. So it's become more complicated when it is about people. If I will tell you, for example, you are boring, or you are stupid, or as I said to my friend, you are ugly. So what is it that I meant when I said to my friend, you are ugly? What was the experience I was trying to describe? So actually, it took me quite some time to realize what I meant with that. And it was actually something about her mouth. And more specifically about how she was moving her mouth while she was laughing. Do you know these people that they laugh all the time and you don't know why they laugh? I felt very uncomfortable with her because I didn't trust that her laugh was honest. So if I would describe it now, I might say something like, my friend, when you are laughing now, I'm feeling a bit unsure because I really would like to understand. Can you tell me, what is it that makes you laugh? Very often, when I start to introduce the jackal and the giraffe, people start to think, okay, so the jackal is bad and the giraffe is good. Yeah? And maybe you would recognize this phenomena that, I don't know, you spend time with your mother, and she's doing her thing, and you start to be annoyed. And then you start to think like, oh my God, like my mom, she's so annoying. She's such a control freak. She's bossing everybody around. And then comes this one. You know this one? Little Jackal. He's saying, Yoram, you're so judgmental. You shouldn't judge your mother. I call this one New Age Jackal. Yeah, like judging the judgment, thinking that judging is bad. If I think that judging is bad, I'm falling even deeper into the paradigm of the jackal. And then comes the poet Rumi, and he say, beyond right and wrong, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When I heard it first time, I was pissed. What do you mean, I'll meet you there? Like, hey, show me the way how to get there. And the way how to get there came to me when I heard Marshall Rosenberg say, every judgment is a tragic description, is a tragic expression of an unmet need. So each time you judge, or each time somebody is judging you, is a tragic expression of a vulnerable experience that they are having. For example, I really like to judge my girlfriend. For example, selfish. For example, I had a fight at work, and then I come back home, I want her to listen to me, and then she tells me, no, Yoram, I'm on the computer now, I don't have time today. Selfish. And I can tell you, whenever I call her selfish, that's not making her more available to want to listen to me. So what is it that I mean when I say you are selfish? So I will give you two versions of the same message. And just imagine all of you that you are my girlfriend. And just listen to me with your heart and notice which version keeps your heart more open to me. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to do what I ask you to do, but just that your heart stay more open to me. So version number 1. My girlfriend, you're so selfish. You just think about yourself. It's amazing. You just do whatever is important to you. And the punchline, by the way, you're just like your mother. And version number 2, the same message exactly. My dear girlfriend, today I had a fight at work and I'm feeling very sad about it and I really need some help. I wonder, are you available to listen to me today for, let's say, 15 minutes? And by the way, say yes only if you really enjoy to do that. Otherwise, I have other people who can listen to me. So maybe some of you start to wonder what that has to do with TEDx education. So in my understanding, schools are there in order to prepare people for life. And in my belief, communication is the most important basic life skill that will serve you in whatever you will do. For example, if you get a job, you mainly work with people. Or if you want to make a family, you even create little people. And then you need to learn how to deal with these little people. And even if you are alone, communication is how you speak with yourself all day long in your head. I remember when I was at school, I had a geography teacher, and he was a very well Jackal educated human being. And he gave me a task. He told me, Yoram, write an essay about Bucharest, the capital of Romania. Now, I was 10 years old. In those early days of my life, I was not particularly interested in Bucharest. So instead, I was practicing music bits. You see, my brother was teaching me that, and I was vigorously practicing it. And then the teacher came to me, and he told me, Yoram, you are lazy. You should start to learn how to take yourself more seriously. Now, that was a very confusing message to me, because I took myself very seriously. See, and actually I was learning a life skill that served me later very much when I became a professional dancer and a choreographer. And having a sense of rhythm in my body was serving me definitely more than knowing anything about Bucharest. And actually, I feel sad for the guy. If you call yourself a teacher and you think that your job is to be a policeman, I would consider this job as hell. And I believe he would have more fun if he would speak to me this language. For example, if he would say something like, Yoram, seeing how passionate you are about practicing these music bits, I'm feeling excited because I really would like to support you in it. Hey, how about going on Google and searching for some, cool Romanian beats? In the coming July, together with a group of people, we are about to open the first Giraffe school in Amsterdam for children aged 0 till 21. Thank you very much.